Okay, now we're good to go. Now we're good
All right,
to go.
welcome to the Friday the 25th Week 3 stand-up for Gray Area. We just did our milestone review. As usual, we'll talk about what we worked on since we last met, what we're going to be working on today, and any roadblocks or barriers we are encountering. So why don't you start us off, Brent?
My name is Brent. Last week I read more documentation on Unity, got myself up to speed, reached out to Chase and Charles. We're meeting today to go over AI, and that's what I plan on doing next week.
Hi, my name is Nathan, and recently what I was working on was the Fatui, the first time user experience, and trying to figure out what would be the best way to go on through the game in my eyes. Probably what I'm going to be continuing working on is finishing today whatever's left simply on the things I haven't finished yet on the Fatui, and hopefully set up for this today for the playtest, and also give myself understanding of what should be implemented into the game soon.
Hi, I'm Klana. I'm one of the level designers, and what I've been working on this past week was the first time user experience document. Wrote out the different stuff that the Gray will be able to do. And what I will be doing today will be going back into the ranch site and getting that cactus out of that truck.
Oh, I already did it, buddy. Don't you worry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I already did the update.
Okay. Really bad. And
Good.
next week, just whatever new task we'll be getting, I'll be doing that.
You pointing at me now or Travis?
Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. I'm Kylie. I'm the art lead. As of last week, I'm working on updating the style guide, changing it from a PowerPoint presentation to a document now, and kind of including all the extra parts that Doug would like to see in it, which is interesting because it's a lot of like art things that we don't have, which I have to work on. So it's interesting. But on top of that, I was working on UI elements, which I got done because there needed to be some updating in the the loss and the win menu for screens. And so those are done. We just had to implement them. Other than that, that's about it. But I don't have any blocks currently, other than just I pulled the build and that was fine, so that's good. But other than just making sure everybody gets their stuff done on top of my stuff, that's about it.
Hi, I'm Lauren, an artist. I worked on some concept art. I got 2 female outfits done and colored into Photoshop. If I don't get any tasks today, I'll probably work on a male set and then incorporate actual facial features into it, then put it back into Photoshop and color that. And the only issue I have is being tired.
Yes, English is very hard.
I can't talk normally, so when I'm tired, it just gets worse.
I'm Christian VC. Last I was working on, I was finishing up some concept art as well as starting low poly pass and just some props that I'll be seeing around the town and the ranch. As for what I'm going to be working on next, it's going to continue prop production, I'm sure, as well as just possible just texturing normal 3D modeling stuff. As for roadblocks, the only thing is in the next week, we do have the game jam over the weekend, and that'll definitely cut into the amount of hours I can put into the project.
Thanks, Travis. Level design last week mostly was doing the Fatui, the first time user experience, just like the other designers. This coming week and today, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to be doing. I'm probably just going to be editing the Fatui, if anything, and doing other design work and the playtest as well. Nothing is really standing in my way either.
Hi, Garrett. Animations. This week mainly was researching if moving from motion capture root motion back to just input and just value motion would conflict with anything. Hopefully shouldn't, but things can happen. Only thing standing in my way is going to be probably pretty tired after this week because doing game jam, but
Nothing's really standing away besides that.
All right, I'm Donald Cheppis. I'm the team lead. What I've been working on, I finished finally the 1,000 asset update for across the crash site and the ranch zones. So everything in those is prefabbed. I've gone through and done things, and I need to remind me later to teach you guys how to modify scale and the scale import, and not just in the instances that are in the scene, because when you modify things with scale, the colliders, if I then go in and do it as you're supposed to and modify the scale import of the assets, all the colliders get screwed up, so I had to redo like almost all of the colliders on the assets that had colliders. But all that's prefabbed out. Both the ranch site and the crash, the ranch and the crash site are both ready to go. I think Charles is going to have to do a pass through because we now have like there's 3 scenes for each. There's the original scene that has everything in one. We've got his splitting up of the scenes so that way he could test the loading multiple scenes at a single time, and then my scenes with little prefab updates. But everything's updated there. I'll probably at some point also jump in and do a little bit more organization of the project files themselves. But I just wanted to get this done so that way we could have folks start working with the updates to the scenes. What we're going to be working on today, I know I'm going to be running through everybody another tutorial on how to use AxoSoft. We've had a lot of confusion with that. Get everybody up to speed so that way last week's work logs, this week's work logs are all good, and then I'll go back and reapprove the hours from last week. We'll also talk about, I think everybody's good for people in the class that are how you're handling the burn down assignments and stuff like that. Lynn sent that email out the middle of last week, or I guess the middle of this week, talking about making sure you were submitting the assignments right. I'm not 100% sure exactly what she was talking about, so that's why I just kind of passed on the text to you guys. But we'll make sure that everybody's getting full marks for the burn down assignments. We'll also be doing our sprint retrospective, so we'll be looking at what were things that were problems during the sprint that we can improve on in future sprints, and then we'll also be doing our sprint planning for the next 3 weeks. So for sprint 2, figuring out what tasks everybody's going to be working on, and that'll probably also dovetail into a refresher on how you build your tasks in AxoSoft. I know people had some confusion with how you make your task a subtask of the epics. I'm also thinking that I'll probably really quick do a run through if I have time today and swap it so that way because right now the way we have it set up is the epics have the user stories childed under them, and then the tasks just have the user story in the title of the task, and that's just childed under the epic because we can't nest them underneath the user stories. If I have some time today, I'll go through and reset that so that the epics are at the top level, and then on the same level are the user stories with the epic in the name, and then we can have the tasks be sub-items of the user stories, because I think that's going to be much more useful for us going forward, just in the way we're using it, since we're interacting with tasks and the organization of tasks a lot more than the organization of user stories. But that kind of depends on how much time I have today to do that. We'll also be taking a look at the Fatuis, the 3 different versions, because there are 3 different versions. It's not 3 designers working on one Fatui. And we'll discuss those, pick them apart, take the pieces we like of the best pieces of all 3 of them and merge that into a single document, and then essentially pitch that to Doug and Daryl. I'll also be at the AI meeting with Grant, since I'll be the one that's focusing on redesigning the documentation for the influence system. Hopefully I'll also have some time today to go through the drive in design, or the design section of the drive, and clean that up, but we'll see. I've got a laundry list of stuff I gotta get done. Roadblocks, like everybody else, time and exhaustion. I'll also be doing the game jam.
Woohoo.
So, is anybody in here not doing the game jam? What are you guys doing with your life? It's global game jam, come on.
I work.
on the yeah.
I got a
Game-
5-page story to write.
That
Game Jam is
and
fun, but Game
Black
Jam
Ops 3
kills
Mob
you.
2 is
Jam with me at my restaurant.
annoying.
I think that hits on everything that we'll have to do today. We had a solid first sprint, just getting everybody onboarded, got some good concept art, and we're really set up to get our second sprint really rolling, and get a lot of actual production work done.